Calle Ocho Books and Press webpage assignment. You recall the press release we did for the launch of Calle Ocho Books and Press. Now we're going to do a webpage for the client. It's going to be content that will be long-standing. In other words, it's not designed to be there for a month or two, but maybe as long as a year before it needs to be refreshed, on what makes Miami special. So, this is what the TV industry thinks of Miami. This is the image that the music industry presents. And this is what tourists are sometimes treated to. But are any of those the real Miami? Or is there something more? So, your assignment is to show what makes Miami special through the website page that helps visitors discover, learn, and enjoy the real Miami. And the real Miami is the one that we know, the one that we live in, with great places to eat, things to do, all sorts of things happening that tourists aren't exposed to. So in your assignment, you're going to look for content that is engaging and surprising. In other words, you want to show them things they wouldn't have thought of or expected. You're going to shake off the Hispanic stereotypes that everyone in Miami who speaks Spanish must be Cuban. You'll celebrate nationalities and ethnicities. Think diversity in the FIU way. You're not going to take them to the tourist destinations, which means no South Beach, no Vizcaya, none of the places that everyone knows already from watching TV or being informed by the local tourist and visit convention bureau center. You're going to look beyond the beaches. Miami isn't just the beaches as we all know. There are many things there that people can do and enjoy that don't involve lying out in the sun. When we illuminate the eclectic, you're going to look for the unusual, but the unusual that's authentic of Miami. And finally, you're going to think history and culture. We think Miami's a relatively new city by all standards, but it has a long history and it has a deep culture. So here's the assignment. Produce a web page of 400 to 600 words that's going to be very detailed in describing an experience that someone might have in Miami. For example, you can write a listicle about dining or entertainment, but you aren't going to list things like Joe Stone crabs. You're going to find the places that aren't known. You can do a history of certain parts of the city. Again, you're not going to do South Beach or Miami Beach because everybody's heard of them or seen them on TV or in movies. You're going to show them the areas that they don't know. And if you're not sure whether or not a place has been widely reported, look at Wikipedia for a main entry. If there's a main entry and it's short, that's fine. You can do more. If there's a detailed entry, you certainly don't want to do it. Third, you don't want to write about festivals or annual events. Those are for blog posts. You want your web page to be something that can be up there for 6 months. If you're going to describe something that's going to happen in Miami in May, then you really haven't done what you're supposed to. You want something that's going to be there for a long time. So for every single item, you're going to include a visual. That is, you're going to find a picture that represents that activity or that place. As we've done with other assignments, you're going to write an SEO-friendly headline, 70 characters or less, and of course it includes spaces. After you've written your web page, you're going to write a search engine summary of 160 characters or less. And again, you're designing that so that if someone were searching for close to what you're writing about, when they see those 160 characters, they're going to say, that's the kind of page I want to read. And after that, you're going to have 4 keywords that if people typed them in, they would most likely find your web page. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what makes a web page and what makes a blog post. So a blog post is something topical, like Trump versus Nordstrom. That's going to be news for another 5 or 6 days, but then it'll probably be forgotten because there'll be something else that Trump does. Uh, Self-driving cars, war in Syria. You want something that's going to have more permanence. So, for example, the 5 best South Florida parks to read a book. That's unusual, that's local, that's authentic, and those parks are going to be there for a long time. How about a place where the restaurant, where the chef is also your waiter? And there are those. So, how are they different? Okay, both draw people to their websites, one with topical information, the other with permanent information. So, again, you can see the example there. What would you write about in terms of skin cancer? Right. What's the difference in writing style? Blog posts are supposed to be opinionated. They're supposed to be stylized. In your web page, you're going to provide useful information, which is to say that you're going to present facts and information that's engaging, but you're going to be neutral in terms of your tone. So you're not going to talk about this is the most horrific, wonderful, or this is better than that. What you want to do is give people good information that they can act on. Lastly, why do they need both? A blog post is current awareness. A web page creates the kind of permanence that is going to bring people back over and over and over to the Calle Ocho Books website. And ultimately, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build traffic by presenting information about the real Miami, just like the books that are being written are about the real Miami or the real South Florida. And in all of this, just keep in mind that if you want to write about something outside of Miami, Broward County's fine, Palm Beach County, the Keys, any of that geographic area is just fine. All right, so we always want to spell, capitalize, and punctuate correctly. If you're not sure, go look it up on somebody's website and make sure you have the exact name correctly of a place that you're writing about. Writing complete sentences and use proper tense and agreement, follow AP style, use short sentences, short paragraphs. People are likely going to be looking at this on a cell phone screen, smartphone screen, or on a tablet, so you want to make it easy to read. Eliminate those redundancies, repetition, and of course, commentary. Again, commentary is fine for blog posts in a web page. What you're trying to do is provide information. Your commentary is that you're saying this is best or different about Miami. All right, so get to the point in the first sentence. Remember, people are looking for information, so you don't have to give them a long wind-up about what Miami is or what Miami isn't. These two stories, paragraphs, these two paragraphs are an example of that. All right. Eliminate that repetition. You can see in blue here, Cubans appears many times. In orange, we have the word domino or dominoes. Once you've established the information you're presenting, you don't have to tell folks over and over again. And keep sentences simple. Let's work on the clichés. There's a temptation when writing something that you think is excellent, you know it from personal experience or you've done your research, to use all sorts of adjectives or descriptions that explain that. What you want to do is use precise language that shows, let's say, for example, what makes a place one of a kind, what makes the food so delicious, why is the sangria remarkable. All right, and let's avoid the obvious. Of course, if someone's a great chef, their meals are creative and original. And if a restaurant's popular, there is going to be a line outside the door. You don't need to tell folks that. You're going to show them that through your writing and your description of these experiences and places. All right. One of the things that people deal with when they're trying to describe a place or give information is there's a lot of stuff. When you're describing a place, there's a lot of information When you're describing a place, you can save yourself a lot of words and the reader a lot of time by including a hyperlink to a page that has basic information like the address, the hours of operation, where to park, how to get there, and so forth. So what you'll do is you'll have a hyperlink the first time you list the name. And you can see those two examples there. You just simply create a hyperlink, which we'll show in a moment, and then they can go look there. That hyperlink can be to a website or a Facebook page. If a place has neither, if it has a Yelp listing, you can include that. Yelp is not as good because it's third party, outside people describing the place. You want the original source, in other words, something that officially comes from the place you're describing, to be included because you know that information is most likely going to be up to date and accurate. All right, so this is how you insert a hyperlink into a Word file. Just follow the 4 steps right there. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the keywords that you're going to put after your short web description. What you want to do is avoid generic things. So art, music, and entertainment can apply to any place in the world. Therefore, it won't help them find your web page. Neither will things like food and affordable. Authentic in life, again, way too general. Words like unknown and hidden, yes, they seem to be descriptive of what you're putting forth, but they apply to so many other things that they're not going to be useful in terms of having people find your page. The first draft of the assignment is due February 26th if you're in the online section, and on March 1st if you are in the in-person section. There will be one revision. You'll send in a Word file with your name and the words webpage, such as Carla's webpage, to me at ottfiu@gmail.com with your name and webpage in the subject line. As with other assignments, your draft will be edited with notes highlighted, and you'll be sent that as edit 1. You'll return that as edit 2 for tracking purposes, and please send by the deadline for final grading. Always watch the weekly announcement as to when those deadlines are. Questions? Email me or schedule an editing session. Just another reminder, an editing session is required before spring break.